I don't think we've discovered the potential of what AI can actually do to our lives. If today I have to pick that one attribute, I would probably say how proactive you are. I would recommend two things. One, can you communicate very well? And how well can you articulate your thoughts? You might not like all your seniors, or you might love all the people that you're working with. That discipline is very, very essential.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to Wisdom Whispers with Abhishek Mittal. Get ready to decode the mysteries of business as we welcome our guest who is the Sherlock Holmes of business intelligence, market maverick, and supply chain sage. He's here to help us navigate the wild world of data and build careers brighter than spreadsheets' future. Subash has 2 decades of experience. He hails from Chennai and settled in Delhi from past 16 years. Outside of work, he's a sports enthusiast and a big time Rajnikant's fan. Let's welcome Subash to the show.
Hello, everyone. Nice meeting you, Abhishek. It's been fantastic. I was quite surprised when you reached out. In fact, I was watching all your episodes for quite some time now. And the good part was, I was about to write to you saying that, hey, I quite like this episode and how you've been kind of invested in doing all of this by taking out time. But the surprising part was you reached out. And when you reached out, I remembered all the outbound trainings that we had been to, right? And all the interactions that we've had during different projects. So fantastic connecting with you. And thanks for having me on the show.
Subash, thanks a lot for agreeing to join us for this show. So, before we get into the more detailed understanding of what you do, before we would like to understand आपकी career कैसे grow हुआ है over the last 2 decades.
Okay, perfect. So, see, I did my engineering from Anna University in Chennai. I completed my electronics and communication engineering way back in 2008. Now, since then, because of recession, the company that had given me an offer, right, had actually taken back their offer,
Ah,
right, in the sense that I got an offer letter, but I never got a call letter. Now, this happened sometime
yes.
between 2007 and 2008, between my third year and fourth year, right? Just like every other fresher, it was a world full of opportunities, and at the same time it was a world full of despair.
Yeah.
It depends on how you actually look at it.
Yes.
So I started looking around in terms of what are the different opportunities that are out there. Then I came across one of these procurement consulting companies in Chennai, and I decided to kind of give it a shot. Now they gave me a very interesting assignment in terms of identifying the cheapest land globally, and they wanted me to submit that assignment in like about a week, right? I coming from an engineering background, you never do any of these type of assignments, right?
Yes.
We talk more about diodes, electronic components, semiconductors, etc. I was quite intrigued by what the question was, spent a lot of time, reached out to different organizations, associations, and then only realized there is an industry that exists like this.
Mhm.
And they call it consulting, quasi consulting, KPO. There are different terminologies that are being used. And that's how my journey began. I joined this company called Bero. This was way back in 2008. And since then, it has been no looking back. I was in Bero for roughly about 20 odd months. And after that, I had an opportunity to work with the Smart Cube. And I've been with the Smart Cube for the last almost 16 years now. I've joined them as a senior research analyst. And in my current capacity, what I ideally do is I head the entire function that involves in providing analytics and research services for clients, whereby our intelligence is used for the CPO office or the CFO office, or sometimes even the COE teams sitting globally for different types of companies in sectors such as CPG, life sciences, industrials, retail, so on and so forth. So that's largely about me in a nutshell.
Great. That's good to know. Because I think 16 years back you moved to Delhi, right? So how are you feeling like being in Delhi from last 16 years?
So it's been a great feeling. To be very completely transparent with you, there was a funny incident that happened. So I landed in Delhi somewhere around 24th December 2009. And my first day at the Smart Cube was on 28th December 2009, right? Delhi is freezing, right? I'm coming from Chennai. The lowest temperature that you probably see is a 23 or a 24. We don't go below that,
Yes.
right? So first day in office, I'm getting acclimatized. I'm having a jacket, so on and so forth. But first day in office, I'm completely dressed up in formals. I was supposed to be there by 9 a.m. I'm there by 8:15. And because this is my first day in office, I want to make a good impression.
Yeah.
Make sure that I get a good head start. There are no delays, so on and so forth. And I had a cab pickup, and that time I was staying somewhere in Delhi because the office had provided an accommodation for the first week.
Yeah.
So taking a cab, being there, tucked in, and sitting in the reception, waiting for people to come in. The best part that happened was almost everyone that came by, they all had a kind of a funky stare at me, and I was wondering why. Right? It took me at least 20-30 minutes to realize that I am the only one who's not even wearing a sweater, who is not wearing a shawl, who is not kind of having any mufflers or gloves, so on and so forth, not even a jacket. I was tucked in my formals and I was actually waiting in the reception. Now, obviously, since then, I've also become a true Delhiite. In winter, I have multiple layers of clothing, right? And it's been a great journey. In fact, I love Delhi as a city. It's I love Noida, Delhi, Gurgaon. I've been traveling quite a bit in these places, and the last 16 years, no wonder I've not moved out, right? So the city also grows on you. The infrastructure is fantastic, and you get to meet great people like you who are
Thank you.
truly extroverts, who kind of make you feel comfortable, who share their experiences, and that's something that's really lovely, to be very candid.
Nice, nice. Good to know that Daily welcomed you well.
Yeah.
So and related to that, I can share like 20 months back I moved to Singapore, and when I moved to Singapore, again similar to that, like my first day in office, I was dressed up in a formals. I had a coat, coat and pants, and was going to office. And I took public transport. That's how Singapore travels, right? And I reached office, and everyone was staring at me throughout the journey. Why? Because I was the only person in that weather who was in coat, right? Because I thought it's formal. You have to be in a corporate environment. You have to be formal. I have lived a consulting life, and then I reached office. I saw like everyone was in casual. So so I can just resonate back to that. Oh, I also face the same thing. Great. So, Subhash, thanks for sharing that. Now, I would like to understand from your perspective, when you started in this KPO research kind of environment, what was the expectations from you at that point of time? What you really did, and when you onboard new people coming from campus or 1 2 years of experience, like you moved from Barrow to the Smart Cube, then what exactly you look into them?
So, see, I think the expectations have really changed over the last 15-20 years, right? So, I've been going to campuses for the last decade or so,
Hmm.
where we pretty much start with Delhi College of Engineering, and now it's called DTU, I guess.
Yes.
And that's the first day. That's day one for us. In fact, we get day zero there.
Hmm.
We make the presentation, so on and so forth. And I've been leading those presentations over the last 4-5 years, where that's where we go ahead and start kind of talking about what the smart cube is, what this entire analytics and research industry is all about, how is a KPO different from a consulting company, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Then we talk about what are the different aspirations that individuals can look at,
Hmm.
right? Now, if I look at it, if I look at a decade back,
Hmm.
I think almost all of us, right, when we went through different interviews, I think the first and foremost thing that was looked at was our academics. How strong are we in terms of our grades? Were we among the top 5%
Hmm.
in our particular function or practice, so on and so forth?
Yeah.
But over the last decade, things have really changed. We are seeing more entrepreneurs. We are seeing people who have a diverse set of capabilities, right? If today I'm going to campus and I'm speaking to someone, or if I need to go back in time and advise myself in terms of what are those 2 3 attributes that organizations are looking for, I think the first and foremost thing is they're expecting individuals to have very good communication skills,
Hmm.
both written and verbal. And when I mean verbal and written, it not be 100% grammatically correct, but you should be comfortable when you're put in front of an audience, when you're put in front of a client, when you're put in front of any business stakeholder.
Yeah.
He could be a senior, he or she could be a senior stakeholder. How well are you articulating your thoughts? That's the most important thing that stands out.
Yeah.
Second, what we really look for is business acumen, in the sense that it's very similar to how you logically analyze a problem. If tomorrow you're given a business situation, can you think through, you might not know what that business is all about,
Hmm.
but can you on the spot think through how to approach that problem statement? Can you think through logically step by step? Okay, this should be step one, this should be step two, this should be step three, so on and so forth. And you're able to interconnect step one and step two to something else. Like, for example, even as simple as If there is a earthquake in Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
will it have any impact on Philippines in terms of Philippines, if they are one of the leading producers of coconut oil,
Yeah.
will an earthquake in Mexico have an impact on Philippines? Now, I might have zero understanding of this market, but is there a way in which I can connect both these subjects? I think that's really increasing. So, if there are two things that I would tell fresh graduates or people who are aspiring to reach out to any job, right?
Yeah.
Whether you are on the client side or
Mm-hmm.
you are on the service provider side or you are like a thought leader like you, I would recommend two things. One, can you communicate very well? How well can you communicate
Mm-hmm.
and how well can you articulate your thoughts quickly in a very crisp manner? Second, how can you improve your business acumen? Do you read a lot about what's happening in the global businesses, what's happening in global markets, what is a company, what is a private company, what is a public company, how do they operate,
Right.
right? How does profit and loss works? All these small things make a very big difference in terms of how you are coming across in front of a placement committee or in front of where you are getting interviewed for.
Mm-hmm.
That's at least two things that is on top of my head when it comes to me looking back at my career or
Mm-hmm.
me kind of encouraging anyone to attend any of these interviews.
And like when you enter now, so like now you got a chance to work for an industry like yours, and to be successful in that industry, now what should I keep working on?
See, it's a very tough question, but I can broadly summarize it into three segments. One,
Mm-hmm.
I need to be very disciplined in what I'm ideally doing, right? Like when I mean disciplined, I can break that down further into it could be as simple as, someone is, asking me for a call. Am I
Mm-hmm.
dialing in 2, 3 minutes or at least 5 minutes prior to the call? Am I going prepared with an agenda? I'm just not, going ahead in terms of looking at what is it that I can share on the spot,
Mm-hmm.
but going well prepared, or at least if I'm not prepared, being on time, ensuring that I'm responding to the other individual correctly, so on and so forth,
Yeah.
right? I think the best example that immediately comes to my mind is how you have been conducting all of this. You gave a 2 weeks heads up, you sent the agenda well ahead, and you kind of spoke about the theme. That was fantastic, right? So that discipline is very, very essential. Second, I also feel that sometimes, there is always this debate of should you be an individual contributor, should you
Yeah.
be a team leader, so on and so forth, right? Or can you be an all-rounder versus specialist? This debate never ends. Throughout your professional career, there will be different pockets where you need to take a leap of faith and you need to believe that this will actually work,
Mm-hmm.
right? That is very, very essential.
Yes.
Third, always look up to your seniors, right? You might not like all your seniors or you might love all the people that you're working with, and it need not be only your seniors, it can be your fellow colleagues and even
Yes.
juniors.
Yes.
There'll be different attributes that they will have, right? Their energy, their willingness to run the extra mile, their availability, they're continuously online. If you ask them anything anytime, they're always available,
Yeah.
right? All that stands out, right? So if I have to summarize this, your discipline, it's very important to be very disciplined, staying on the ground so that you can keep moving forward. Always take a leap of faith and look up to people around you, especially see how the journeys of your colleagues have been, especially senior stakeholders whom you're reporting into. That will kind of be the initial stepping stone for you to understand what else you can explore, right?
Right.
That has always helped me at least.
No, these are great insights, because I think somehow in our previous episodes as well, in bits and pieces, all the guests have covered these things,
Yeah,
and you are bringing it together. That's really nice, because I think professionalism, right? Discipline is more about professionalism,
correct,
and that is very much important. And sometimes it is missing from a lot of individuals when they join from campus, because they think the still casual attitude can continue into the corporate world too,
correct,
right?
correct,
And that's what I have seen. I know you might have also seen that, and we have observed that. I can remember my smart cube days as well, and when we used to have a lot of people joining in from fresh from campuses, like we used to face this as a challenge. But I think they need to really work on this aspect, professionalism.
that's
uh,
true.
yeah, great. So there's the one thing which I checked before coming for this episode. Like, you are an ambassador for the Sustainable Procurement Pledge, right? Can you please tell us more about it? That how and why do you get involved with this entire idea?
Yeah, so this was way back in 2017, 2018. So one of our clients had actually started this episode where they wanted to bring in people, and they wanted to bring in people from different segments within a company, right? Within an organization, you have different buying offices or business units, as you
Yes.
might call it. You have the procurement function, the finance function, the manufacturing function, R&D, marketing, sales, so on and so forth. What this individual did was he had bought people primarily from the procurement function,
Mm-hmm.
and his goal was very simple: to look at whatever you do, ensure that you're conscious about Mother Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it started, right? That was very fascinating, right? And our CEO also kind of was quite interested in it. And it was first between the Smart Cube CEO and me, where we had kind of conceptualized this fact as to should we bring in more people on board, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were completely sold on the idea,
Mm.
right? Now it could be even as simple as, the procurement function is actually going ahead and sourcing indirect services or direct materials. Can you actually take a look at ensuring that the process in which you're sourcing, you're not really damaging the environment?
Mm-hmm.
And can you pledge or at least work towards it? Today you might still have a huge carbon footprint, but over a period of time, can you actually reduce it? Now, what that led me to think about was the fact that when we are advising clients, because throughout we are using different analytics tools, research tools, techniques, etc., we are going ahead and talking to our clients about how can they procure different products, how can they source different products, what intelligence do they need, so on and so
Mm-hmm.
forth. In all these cases, what we felt was, can we also bring in the sustainability element? Because it's not only beneficial to the environment, but it is also going to help the client think in a different angle.
Yes.
That was widely appreciated. And in fact, today at the Smart Cube, we have at least 40-50% of the community who signed up for that SPP, as they call it, Sustainable Procurement Pledge. And that was really fascinating because almost it just, we all talk about sustainability globally, right? Even when we order something, we talk about sustainability, even in a one-to-one setting or for our personal consumption. But it is great that people are talking about it. So it was just that one small kind of push from one of our clients that kind of made us ensure that we are also investing heavily in sustainability, right? So that's how I ended up there.
Nice, nice.
Mm.
Because sustainability is, it's not just related with companies now. It's even countries looking at from a
Absolutely.
more broader perspective, right?
Absolutely.
And it's
Absolutely.
such an in topic right now, and
Yeah.
it's very much
Yeah.
required.
Yeah.
We are all
Yeah.
talking about global warming. If
Yeah.
we don't take step right now, right, then nothing will happen,
That's true. That's
right?
really
So
true. And
thank
you can already see it in Delhi. I think we had our
yes,
worst winter.
yes.
I think we are going to have our worst summer.
Worst summers, yes.
So I think it's going to be crazy.
uh, you've also published a book, and you keep publishing multiple articles, and you write to multiple channels, right? uh, we have already talked about the importance of reading in corporate life, right? But I would like to understand what's an important importance of writing also in the corporate life.
So we all talk about reading and writing, and to me, it goes hand in hand, right? I've always had a fascination for writing, and this happened way back in 2009, 2010. There was a Icelandic volcano eruption that happened, right?
Mhm.
And the first thing that hit me was, this is going to impact the entire European airline industry,
Mhm.
right? And no one was paying heed to it. So I just put together an article talking about how this can impact different sectors, right? From pharma, consumer healthcare, food and beverage, so on and so forth. That was the starting point.
Mhm.
Now, in our line of business, the primary thing that we do is write reports, QC
Yes.
reports, publish content, right? Now, I've always been fascinated by doing that, but for that, the most important step is reading. And it goes back to the earlier question that you had asked about business acumen. You can't improve your business acumen if you're not reading about what's happening globally, and it
Yes.
need not be always business related. Sometimes even autobiographies play a very important role. Experiences play a very important role. A lot of business management books play a very important
Yes.
role, right? So reading is very essential. We all agree. Now, in the recent time and age, at least between 2013 and 2014, what I found was there is a demand for content out there.
Mhm.
Now, this content can be any fold. You have, you know, people are looking for content that is bit sized, 100 words, 150 words, right? The best example are your LinkedIn posts where you talk about all this in like 100, 150 words. and they just want the content to fit in their 5-inch,
Mm.
touchscreen phone.
Yes.
Now, for this, before Chat GPT, people started writing and they started posting different thoughts. They never worried about how grammatically accurate their language is,
Yes.
etc. Now, what writing helps is it helps you articulate your thoughts better. It
Mm.
stays out there and you can always refer back. Sometimes thoughts, you lose your thoughts over a period of period. But when
Yes.
you write content, it helps you further improve your overall communication skills. It helps you go out there and express yourself very well. And to me, writing is as important as reading. And what I've found is when you write, that content always exists. People
Yes.
can always refer back. As against when you speak, you still have to summarize that at the end in case if you want the person to remember. So writing is very essential. I think reading and writing go hand in hand. It's important that over a period of time, as I said, as if you're a fresh graduate and watching this episode, I don't think you should hesitate in putting your thoughts together, picking a pen and writing it. There are different tools today that will help you correct your English, that will
Yeah.
help you articulate your thoughts better, so on and so forth. But as you start speaking and writing, you will be able to articulate your thoughts better. And to me, that's the most important thing.
Nice, nice. Because that was on top of my head. Like, because we like now from the last 3 months, I'm writing a lot of content on a lot of platforms, and I'm uh, like presenting a lot of content through this podcast as well. But I think writing is very important. As you said,
Yeah.
you can anytime go back, you can look at your content, like what you have done, and that's how you are learning,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And like in our research industry, we do look at a lot of people's what exactly they have written in the past
Correct.
and what they're talking about the future, and
Correct.
that's how we also gather our thoughts around it, and then you summarize and bring a new perspective altogether.
Correct. And I'm sure in your vision for your podcast, you're thinking that at some time you're also going to publish transcript of these interviews. So there it goes.
Yes. Thank you. That's a good suggestion, Subash. I will take it.
Okay. Perfect.
There is one more question in my head. You have worked with so many different clients, so many different industries. What's the one constant which you have seen which applies to everything? Maybe in terms of research, maybe in terms of your learning, maybe in terms of a problem statement. There must be some things which are constant across your different work.
See, at least, see, I can divide this probably into two, three parts.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, if you look at before COVID, the economy was booming, so on and so forth. Clients were not really pushing you to get insights at a faster pace. They were looking more for quality insights
Mm-hmm.
and they were looking for insights and individuals who can run the extra mile, who are willing to focus on excellence, so on and so forth. But since the advent of the pandemic, this entire landscape changed. If today I have to pick that one attribute,
Mm-hmm.
I would probably say how proactive you are, right?
Agility.
Right, and clients typically love us for that. 4 years back, you need to complete the entire report and then send it to the client, right? You can obviously have a discussion over an interim report,
Mm-hmm.
but today the client is not interested in the entire report. The client is interested in insights. The client wants to work with you, right? So collaboration takes high precedence over us just submitting a report to a client or us just sending a report to the client and then
Mm-hmm.
taking them through addressing questions. The client wants to be invested throughout the process. And for collaboration to work out very well, it is important that I have to be proactive. I
Yes.
reach out to clients, I reach out to my different stakeholders, I reach out to my colleagues, I reach out to people across different levels, ensure that I bring them on board. And if I do this proactively, it works really well. In fact, when we talk about proactiveness, there is this one story that I keep talking to my colleagues about. So, there were two people, and there were two people in an industry. Let's just say Tom and Ram,
Yeah.
right? And Tom and Ram are due for appraisals. Tom is rated 3 on 5, whereas Ram is rated 5 on 5. Tom is a bit upset about it because he gets to know what Ram is rated, and Tom confronts his boss saying, "Hey, you know what? What happened? Why am I getting a 3 on 5? I've put in as many hours as Ram." So, what this boss does is he brings Tom and Ram into a room. He tells them that, "Hey, you know what? Why don't you go and why don't you go to the nearby market? Tell me how many watermelons are there in the market,
Mhm.
right? Tom and Ram both go off. They spend a couple of hours, come back, right? Both have come in and they are ready to present their insights to the boss. Now they are put in a meeting room, and first Tom goes ahead, the individual who's got 3 on 5. He says that there are 16 watermelons, and probably there is one vendor with 16 watermelons, and there is another vendor with 2 more watermelons, right? Then he shifts the question towards Ram.
Yeah.
Ram is of the view that, hey, you know what? Yes, he's right. There are 16 watermelons with one vendor and 2 watermelons with another vendor. But both these vendors have a lot more watermelons in their, let's say,
Warehouse. Yeah.
warehouse. And this is that head count. Each watermelon costs X, Y. If you buy everything together, they're willing to give you a discount. If you want them to be transported to your house as well, this is the charge that they're actually, incurring per kilometer. And this is what your final price will be. Now, the question to both of them was, how many watermelons are there?
Yes.
Now, this makes a big difference. Now, this is what clients are expecting. A
Mhm.
client has asked you a question X, but can we go back to them proactively and tell them about X minus 1, 2, X plus 1, 2? And that adds a lot of value, right? So, at least that's one thing that I've really seen in the last 4 5 years where clients want individuals to be proactive. And it's not only clients, even stakeholders within an organization, the leadership, people at you know senior leadership levels, people at mid managers, everyone wants the other individual to be proactive, right? So at least that's one attribute that I can definitely share.
Yeah, because now that is what. Are you meeting expectations, or are you going beyond that?
Right.
That Tom met the expectations,
Correct.
and even meeting expectations was not easy.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying, right,
Absolutely.
but are you going above and beyond and saying that, oh, okay, I met the expectations, but these are additional things which I can bring on the table.
Absolutely.
And that's what I think we have faced a lot of challenges when we do a year-end appraisal, and people say, oh, I have done everything what you asked, Subash, but why I'm getting 3? Because you have met the expectations. That what I was looking from you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, and in fact, this goes to our business acumen as well, right? When you start looking at an industry or when you start looking at a topic, you start thinking about it in all angles,
yes.
right? And then you start asking questions. Now, the more you ask questions, the more you learn, and that helps you succeed. At least that's how uh, we've been seeing in the market. And if there is one thing that I would tell myself, even 5 years back, I think I should be even more proactive, right? Before someone comes up with a question, if I can go with that question and provide that answer, then it's game on.
Yeah, because we are into a research industry, as you're saying, like if you don't look at the other perspectives, sometimes you are not putting the right perspective in front of your client.
Absolutely.
Why? Because it's quite possible. So I can easily take an example of, let's say, Motorola or a BlackBerry, right? If they would have asked that, oh, what will be the market size in 2025? We would have said, it's a great market size. The market will grow. But will you be able to grow or not?
Hmm.
If you would have seen that what other players are doing and how they are changing the market, they would have known before that that we
Absolutely.
have to move ahead with something new, some new product, not the product which we are doing.
Absolutely.
Because that's what a
No, I couldn't
proactive.
agree more. I think, I understand where you're coming from. And that's where this whole degree of proactiveness come in. And the more you
Yes.
are proactive, and not only in your professional life, but even in your personal life,
Yes.
that adds a huge value.
Because now you're married, so now you can understand the
Yeah, I am.
the
I am.
proactiveness there.
Thanks for reminding me.
So Ash, one more thing, in this particular profile which you have been, how the artificial intelligence has changed the way we are working, and what you think will be the future ahead of this artificial intelligence in this particular industry.
Right. See, this is a question that we get asked almost every 2 3 days.
Yes.
Okay. To be very transparent with you, the impact of generative AI ever since the advent of ChatGPT has
Hmm.
been enormous. Right. Now, let me put it this way. See, if you personally ask me, I don't think we've discovered the potential of what AI can actually do to our lives.
Yes.
Now, we are experiencing this in different formats. It could be even as simple as a simple chatbot in one of these applications helping us answer different questions. There need not be a customer representative,
Hmm.
or if tomorrow an organization had 100 customer representatives, at least the first 5 10 questions, they're kind of getting it completed through some of these chatbots, etc. This is
Yes.
a very simple application of how
Right.
generative AI has played a very important role, right? I wouldn't go to the extent of saying that generative AI is going to impact jobs immediately, so on and so forth. I think we are only at the tip of the iceberg. We don't know what is beneath, but we all expect that what is beneath is going to be humongous. And
Mhm.
that's absolutely right. I think what is beneath is going to be humongous because we ourselves have been running different experiments for our clients. In all
Mhm.
these initiatives that we spearhead for our clients, we see tremendous potential, right? But can we clearly articulate the outcome in the given setting? We can articulate it in certain pockets, but we are not able to articulate it across different pockets. Even as simple as, you know, let's say tomorrow you had like 200 PDF files, and all you need to do was extract information from each of these PDF files and put it in a table.
Mhm.
10 years back, it was completely human intelligence, right? In today's day and age, you're able to do this in less than an hour
Yes.
by running different algorithms, extracting information, presenting information in the format you need, right? But this is just one end of it, right?
Yeah.
The second part of it is how can this be further automated? Then how can insights come of it directly? And even as simple as you are interacting with, you know, a food delivery executive,
Mhm.
right? Or your, a transportation service provider. These days the first individual who you talk to is actually a chat bot,
Mhm.
right? You don't end up talking to
A customer care
a
executive.
customer care executive,
Yeah.
right? And it's in voice, it's in text, so on and so forth. So artificial intelligence is really penetrating businesses, right? That's definitely there. Is it displacing jobs? I don't think it's really displacing jobs. Does it have the potential to displace jobs? Maybe some of the jobs that can be automated can actually get displaced.
Mhm.
However, I still feel that at least in the next decade, human intelligence and artificial intelligence will go hand in hand. While the tool can extract all information and while the chatbot can provide answers to a set of questions, if you go beyond that,
Mhm.
they do need a customer executive to come in and talk to you, right? As simple as you ordering food over a
Mm.
food app or raising a complaint against you know uh, a service that you've recently subscribed to, so on and so forth. So the advent of AI is tremendous. Clients are really investing in it. Some of them have stayed out of it and want to see what competition is doing, so on and so forth. Some of them have outsourced it. Some of them have adopted a hybrid model where they have set up central teams to continuously monitor all the different developments that are ongoing, so on and so forth. So that's absolutely fantastic. I do think that the potential is humongous. If you're a fresher and you are actually looking at, will this displace my job even
Mhm.
before I
Mhm.
get a job? I don't think that's the way you should look at it. I think it's important that you start understanding how these tools work, what are the different things that you can upskill about, right? Even as simple as today, there is a huge demand for people who can speak multiple European languages or Asian languages in India,
Yes.
right? While generative AI or any AI tool can only provide that much cover. Now, this is a very good area for you to upskill. Right
Mhm.
now, like this, there are so many spheres where you can upskill. Analytics is going to be a huge industry. It is already a huge industry, and it's going to have even higher growth
Yeah.
because that will form the base of all your AI models, ML algorithms, so on and so forth. So it's a no-brainer. As a fresher, my request would be more about how you can upskill yourself in these niche areas
Mhm.
and keep a tab of what's happening in this space so that you can be abreast in terms of what are the different things happening in this space. How can you actually use it? Today, AI is not your competition.
As a
AI
friend.
is your friend. If you treat it as a friend, it means you need to get to know what AI is
Yes.
about. Look at it that way. That will really set you up for success.
Great. Thank you. And that's ending this entire conversation at a very high note, right? So thanks a lot, Subash, for joining us for this. Guys, if you like this episode, please like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. And if you are listening to this on a podcast, audio podcast platform, do follow us so that we can keep sharing the more content around this. With this, Subash, we will now move on to the next section of it, which is unwind. You said reading is also important. Can you name any two books जो आपने recently पढ़ी हो या the books which you think कि हर किसी को पढ़नी चाहिए?
See, I think, I'm a big fan of cricket. And
Uh-huh.
I adore watching a lot of cricket matches, especially test matches, right? So I recently ran across this book called A Century is Not Enough, which is the autobiography of Saurav Ganguly,
Mm.
right? Having been a millennial and seen, for people of our age group,
Mhm.
we've seen the rise and fall of Indian cricket with Saurav Ganguly, in the sense that, if I look at it in the second half of, or in the, during the Y2K period, we
Uh-huh.
hardly had a team, right? It was Tendulkar, and it was only Tendulkar.
Yeah.
Tendulkar, and Saurav Ganguly came in and gave a different perspective altogether. His book, A Century is Not Enough, is truly path breaking, and I would recommend it for any campus graduate or anyone who's closely followed Indian cricket over the last 2 decades. It talks about how he rose to stardom and how he fell from stardom overnight and how he managed through the different nitty-gritties that he was actually put into, right? The way he navigated through all the problem statements, the individual who he recommended as a coach wanted him out of the team,
Yes.
right? The same board got him out, right? And all of a sudden he was playing for, I think, West Bengal in one of the Ranji Trophy matches. The way he talks about his depth, the way he talks about his highs and lows is truly amazing. And you could, as a professional working in a corporate environment, you will
Mhm.
very well relate to it. If it can be, you know, you can actually go ahead and that book is relatable to any individual across different spheres. I wouldn't recommend two, but at least this one book really caught my
Ah,
eye. I've at least read it 2, 3 times now, and there are different snippets where I've kind of earmarked where, whenever you have your highs and lows, it's important that you kind of go through those snippets.
lovely. That's good to know. Uh, I know you have been working very hard, right? So, what you do to unwind yourself from the work environment?
See, it's sometimes when you're working, you're working, right? See, I'll put it this way. I don't see a huge difference between my personal life and professional life. I look at things as, if you need to get something done, you will focus on getting that done. Now,
Yes.
whether it is at your personal end or your professional end, you start prioritizing which one you want to do first, right? That's how it typically works. Now, in the last 2, 3 years, I've really started enjoying gardening, right? I have built a small garden around my house, and I've been kind of enjoying, watering the plants, using different types of manure, seeing the flowers blossom, so on and so forth, right? I've really enjoyed, I have quite a few pets around my house, though I don't really they don't live with me, but they live
Uh-huh.
in and around my house. The cats, the pigeons, so on and so forth. Feeding them, seeing them, that's something that really gives me a lot of strength, right?
Nice.
And one other thing that I really enjoy is I watch a lot of sports, a lot of football matches, a lot of cricket matches. That really helps me, uh, kind of unwind to a great extent in terms of taking my head off from what I'm doing and coming back again. That gives a lot of fresh perspectives. At least these are 2, 3 things that really stand on top of my head.
Okay. What is success means to you?
I should say success means happiness, right? If
Nice.
I'm happy, I'm successful, right? Uh,
Great. Thanks a
and
lot, Subhash.
thank you, Abhishek.
Thanks for being part of the show, and thanks for sharing so many insights with the audience.
Yeah, and it's truly fantastic, Abhishek. When I think we worked for certain projects for the pharma sector. If you're able to
Yes.
recollect, way
Yeah.
back in 2011, 12, in that
Yes.
period, um, I still see the same smile and the enthusiasm. You greeted me saying I have not changed a bit, but it doesn't look like you changed a bit. But I truly appreciate the enthusiasm. In fact, what really pushed me to join this podcast of yours was the amount of effort that you put in. Despite you working around the clock, managing numerous things, the investment that you made is truly amazing, right? And the planning that you actually put in. I did not expect this from you, right? I thought you're calling all your friends and making them speak and becoming an influencer, but you're doing much more than just becoming an influencer. I think making a difference is very essential, and I'm glad that I could participate with you and share my 2 cents.
No, thanks, Subhash. Thanks for being part of the show. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks
Abhishek.
for the good words around it.
Thank you.
So, thanks. So, this was our episode with Subhash. The things which we discussed, and I think what he also was very much enthusiastic talking about was that how we can be successful not just in this business intelligence and research field, but in our lives, wherever we go, right? So one is communication, and as I have talked multiple times, communication does not mean you have to be perfect in your uh, English verbal communication or writing communication. It's about how you articulate. That's very important. That's one thing he has been talking about. Another thing which he was been talking about is proactive. That how proactive are you? So please follow these things. We will keep bringing more such food for thought ideas and conversations in our next episodes. Again, if you If you have any feedback, please do write to us. We are available on Gmail, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And please do subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends and colleagues so that we can reach to the right audience. This is me, Abhishek Mittal, signing off. We will be back next week with another episode. Thank you.